Welcome back, Vol fans. We're going to go over the 2024 recruiting class and some transfers we've already got in on the defensive side. If you've missed it already, we will link the offensive side we just did a couple days ago. So, with that being said, Tim, let's jump into it and let's start with the defensive line.
Well, that's where it starts at. And with Heupel, it starts at the edge. He has recruited the edge better than probably any position he's on the team. And Jordan Ross, 5-star out of Alabama, he's continued that.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious if you follow Heupel's recruiting, that's something he covets. He wants pass rushers. That before anything else is
Yeah.
pass rushers.
Well, I mean, he figures he's going to be playing from ahead in most games because historically he jumps on teams fast, and you've got to play catch up. And then he's going to go ahead on your quarterback.
But besides Ross, Tim, who else we got? I mean, we got several on that defense.
Well, we do. And I think a guy that, although he's not doesn't have the accolades in the rating of Ross, but actually might see the field a little quicker, is Kellen Lindstrom out of Missouri.
Yeah, Lindstrom is interesting prospect. 6'5", 240. You know, when we got a commitment from him, his numbers as far as tackles and stuff was good, but not like spectacular. His senior year, they become spectacular. I mean,
Yeah, for a defensive lineman, I think he went over like 109 tackles, 23 tackle for losses. He had like 13 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. I mean, he just filled up the stat sheet, uh, created chaos.
yeah, I mean, he was all over the place, apparently. I mean, that's amazing for a defensive lineman to put up those kind of numbers. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
you know,
pretty
he
awesome.
might take the role from Tyler Barron on that side, and maybe not next year.
Mhm.
But for your timers, you might think of a Will Overstreet type of guy.
Yeah, I think that's who he reminds me of, is Tyler Barron. I mean, you look at his film, it's that's who kind of you get that guy who's just a little bit of does a little bit of everything.
And he definitely does. I'm really excited about him. Next up, let's look at the JUCO we just pulled in. He's an interesting story in his own self.
Yeah, Jamal Wallace played wide receiver a couple years ago. I only got a couple years uh, of playing at that position that he's in now, of defensive line. He's gained about 100 pounds. I mean, that's crazy.
But that is crazy. You can't imagine all that being good weight. But if you look at his film, explosive.
Yeah, he's vicious. I mean, it's a little scary watching his film. I'm wondering if there was some charges brought up against him after some of those games. I mean, I don't know if I've seen too many people uh, vicious hits like he had on some of these guys.
Well, you're talking about 270-some-pound man that still had the explosion that he had almost 100 pounds ago.
Mhm.
Now, he doesn't play with his hand on the ground yet. So, I mean, he's raw. And they're going to have to really teach him how to play the defensive line position. But he's intriguing.
Yeah, I could see him personally. I could see a red shirt out of him until they teach him some more techniques. I bet, like you said, I bet his techniques not all there. Which this year we're pretty well loaded on the defensive line, so probably won't need to be,
Well, we don't need him right off the bat.
right. Not this year, but we will need him next year, the following year.
And, excuse me, as a guy who's got tremendous upside, uh, it leads you right into the next guy who has tremendous upside as much as anybody on the roster as far as just, and that's Jeremiah Hurd.
Yeah, the guy is very raw, but at 6'8", like 306 pounds. I mean, he's massive. I mean,
And he looks undersized. I mean, honestly, he does. He looks like he can get another 30 pounds easy.
and they've got him listed at defensive end. I mean, 6'8", 305 defensive end. But
Well, you're going to have a hard time going around the edge on him, I promise you that.
yeah, I mean, I can imagine the wingspan on that guy. But running back trying to get outside of him. But who knows where he finishes though? He could end up being defensive tackle. Could be another big John Henderson type. Or some people believe he'll get moved to the offensive tackle, where that might be his highest upside at.
It could be. Big long arms, wingspan like that. Mobile, he plays basketball in high school too. Good athlete.
But he's only
I
got
could really
2
see
years.
him setting up in pass pro. I could see him being super upside.
Like I said, he's another raw guy. He's only played football 2 years.
Big boomer bust candidate. Maybe have the highest ceiling, highest floor on the team in this class right here.
I agree.
But it's going to be, he's a guy you love to roll the dice on. If he hits, you've got an All-American.
Oh, yeah. If I was a head coach, I'm going after a couple guys like Jeremiah Hurd, like a Coley, guys who are super freak athletes, who raw, but you found them and got them maybe because they were still raw.
Well, they were. I mean, look, you may never get a down out of Hurd or Okoye or whatever, but if they hit, then you've got first-team All-Americans. So you roll the dice on them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's a good low cost to get. And they got them both quick. Finishing up on that defensive line, Carson Gentle.
That's right, Tim. A wrestling background. This guy.
You love linemen with wrestling backgrounds.
Yeah. I mean, that's
on either side of the ball, offensive or defensive line.
Absolutely. He's a guy who probably won't see much action this year. I'm guessing he's a year or two away from doing much. Needs to get stronger and bigger. Because I think he may end up being a defensive tackle at some point. But I don't think he has the size for that right this moment.
Well, he doesn't. Some people think he possibly could even play a tight end, and then he won't have to pick up that much weight if he does that. But I think he's a good safe prospect. He'll be in the rotation for you somewhere down the line. How good, I don't know, but he'll get playing time for you. He'll be a contributor. Let's run through our linebackers, Bob. The guys that's going to be cleaning up behind these guys, and the person off my brain right there, Edwin Spillman. What a high school career.
Right. One of our prized recruits. He was a guy who we fought Ohio State for. And man, that came very close to not getting him. I mean, he was an in-state guy, but wow, I mean, heck of a linebacker. He put up,
I think he's an elite prospect.
Yeah. Yeah, he's another guy who we feel like is, could be an All-American type guy.
Well, I mean, he just cleaned up everything on the field come to him, Bob, at high school level, and he's got the physical attributes to continue that at the college level. He had over 300 career tackles at the high school ranks. When he played this year against IMG Academy, he was everywhere. I think he's the one actually wound up knocking our former tight end commitment out of the ball game.
Yeah, I remember right here on the sideline over there. That's pretty nice hit.
Yeah, he blew up in that game right there.
Yeah.
And then our other linebacker commit, we only took 2 this year, but we only played 2 during games. So we're not putting a lot of numbers in that. We got a lot of young prospects, and that'd be Jordan Burns.
Yeah, Burns is a guy who, I don't have a great feel for Burns, honestly. I mean, you watch his film, and I mean, he's got some good size, some good speed and instincts. He's a guy who I'm not sure where his ceiling is. The staff obviously loved him.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see, I guess, on that one. I'm not sure. There's been many guys who, though, I thought was like, this guy's just an average, player. Turns out to be a great player. No, we'll see.
How do you think these 2 guys fit in the linebacker room?
Well, Burns, I think, is probably a red shirt, or a special teams guy. But Spillman, you never know. I mean, Spillman might make some noise, but there's plenty of. You got Paley coming back, and you've got Lander
and Carter,
and Herring, and Caleb Perry.
Really good athlete. Yeah. He's another guy that's been raw.
I'm not ready to mark him off the list either. I mean, he's a guy who's a very good athlete. He was kind of raw. I mean, like you said, he's a guy who could end up having a big junior-senior type year.
Oh, yeah. But I think Spillman's good enough that he might make some noise.
He could.
Get some playing time and all that. But I really like these 2 guys. Like I said, they're only brought in 2, but I like them both, particularly Spillman. And then let's talk about what we really had to bring in, because we've lost like 24 people, it seems like, out of that defensive back class.
Yeah, a lot of in-state guys, but a lot of very good quality DBs, Tim. Starting probably the headliner with Boot Carter.
Well, he was. He's a headliner. Boot Carter is Mr. Do-It-All. He's going to. I'll be shocked if he's not the punt returner for us next year. I think he could probably play corner. Probably could play safety. star. They say they always love versatile guys. I think he's the epitome of that. I can see him playing any three position. But as a high school career, Bob, he just couldn't be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, unreal. I mean, you figure for a guy who's been recruited as a defensive guy, he had 27 touchdowns. Not bad, not bad. And 1,800 all-purpose yards his senior year. 27 touchdowns, 1,800 total all-purpose yards. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I bet you he didn't get that many touches because it seemed like every time I saw him, he was taking something 70 yards. I mean, juking about 15 people. Because it seemed like about half a dozen of them would get 2 or 3 shots at him because it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy who you want the ball in his hands on offense, too. I mean, there was a few plays I seen him, his ability to take a sidestep and don't lose speed is elite. He will juke you. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a shorter Cordell Patterson. I mean, I think it might be a comparison as far as his athletic ability.
Well, he definitely has the ability to stop and start. There's no doubt about that. And I think it's really what you're looking at too on the defense. I saw him in some camps last year as corner, and talk about instantly closing back in on somebody. I mean, he impressed me back then. But yeah, although he's the headliner, a guy that excites me a whole lot, Caleb Beasley.
Yeah, his stats, man. I mean, 24 career interceptions. That's not bad.
Yeah. Double-digit TDs from the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
I want to say something crazy like 17 or 18 defensive touchdowns through his high school career.
Yeah, it was a very large number. I can't remember exactly. It kind of gives me a flashback to Eric Berry.
Yeah, just gets the hand of the ball, takes it back all the way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the great size, the great length that they love to get, that everybody wants anymore. And he's not going to be the fastest guy on the field. But, I mean, he's smooth. He's step for step with receivers. And I can see this guy coming in and getting rotation immediately.
Some guys are just football players. I mean, they may not, do great in a combine setting, but they get the job done. So, and I wouldn't doubt Caleb Beasley's one of those type guys. The next guy, Tim, is another in-state guy, is Marcus Gordy.
Yeah, he's a teammate with Carter's this year. The staff has looked at him for like 2 or 3 years. At some point, some people thought he might have been the top player in the state his junior season. But he's going to be another guy that can probably play any position in that backfield. And then out of the state, though, let's go up North Coast a little bit there and to the, I think, Baltimore area, St. Francis Academy, powerhouse program in the United States. For Idris.
I think it's Idris.
Okay, I'll go with Farouk.
Farouk.
I think I got that right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a guy who wasn't super highly rated, but the staff focused on him early and thought they had a steal with this guy. And
well, they recruited his teammate initially, and to caught sight of him, and they got on him then, and they've held on to him the entire time. They wanted to keep him.
Yeah, reportedly, they were very happy with his senior year and felt like they had a steal with him. So that's always good.
Now, these young guys are great, but we got a couple early guys coming in, Bob, that maybe right off the bat, could they start?
Could be. This next guy, I think, will. Jermon McCoy transferred from Oregon State. He'll just be a sophomore. He, I think, was third team All-Pac as a freshman.
Yes.
I mean, that's impressive.
And when he went into the portal, all the big schools in the Pac-10 wanted to get him. Because that tells you a lot right there. They saw him up close and personal. They saw him every week, and they wanted him on their teams.
Yeah, I would not doubt a bit this he's pushing for a starting job right off the bat.
I agree.
Very good get right there.
And then finally, Jacoby Thomas out of Middle Tennessee State. And he could be in the mix for a safety spot.
He could. I mean, he committed Oregon State, and then we put the little pressure on him, and he flipped over back to us.
Well, I think the whole Oregon State thing was just a placeholder thing. He didn't want to be left out.
No blaming on that. No blaming. I watched him a lot against when he played Alabama, and good ball player. I mean, he seemed to be all over the field. So we'll see what he does with some a little bit better coaching and strength conditioning, stuff like that at this level.
One thing I like about this group right here is these guys are going to have an opportunity where a lot of these younger guys do not, to come in and maybe play a little bit, simply because that room had been totally overhauled from last year.
Sure. I mean, we got a lot of young guys that are going to have to do something this year. So it'll be interesting.
It will. The opportunity is there for them if they can grab it.
And I think we need a little bit of youth in that secondary.
Well, that's all we got now, basically.
Right.
All of our older guys, they pretty much held the NIL money from, and
and I think it's possible we might try something a little differently. It seems like a lot of the guys we've had was more of a zone kind of guys. These guys here, and with the guys we had come in last year, I think are more athletic and can play man better. So I wouldn't doubt if we don't play a little bit more man coverage.
Well, we could. They'd like to do both, but we've definitely gotten more athletic in the defensive backfield, but we're a lot less experienced, so we'll see how that plays. And it may go right back to the defensive line we talked about early. We get a lot of people back, get after the quarterback as your DB's best friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, anyway, that's it for the defensive side. And there's still a few people out there, though. I mean, we still in the run for Dominic McKinley, 5-star defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Still, there's some words that we're talking to A.J. Harris, the cornerback transfer out of Georgia, 5-star.
2 5-stars. And if we could pull off either one of them guys, then, wow, because both of those guys are huge.
It is. I'm not going to say we're in deep on either one yet, but we have an opportunity.
Looks like McKinley is coming in for a visit, January 20th, I believe. So
get him on campus. Anything happens.
Yeah, anything happens.
And I think A.J. Harris has a little connection to Martinez.
I think you're right, yeah.
So we'll be in there. I just don't know how deep yet. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for taking your time out and listening to us today. Be sure to leave a comment. And if you enjoyed it, like it, and subscribe. Until next time, go Big Orange.
Go Vols.